Hi, I'm Dane Rose. I'm your host on the Successful Landscape channel, and I wanted to take a little time for those interested to share a little bit about the idea behind this channel. Now, one of the humbling things that comes from talking with hundreds of business owners and traveling the world is the realization that there's pretty much always going to be someone who does something I do better than me. Whatever it is, someone's doing it better. And that's a kind of a daunting prospect when creating a channel because it simply exposes the fact that some of you are going to be doing some of the things, in landscaping better than I am. And the same is generally true in reverse. I had a phenomenal wake-up call when I met one of the flakiest landscape contractors I know in an irrigation store. He focuses on irrigation, just one guy, and he's been late to meetings and things, so I'm wasn't all that big in interacting. And yet I noticed something. We'd run into each other, we'd talk shop for 5 or 10 minutes in the irrigation store, and I'd learned something. And it just hit me that we all can learn something from just about anyone. And so I have as my starting point the idea that there's someone who builds better walls than I do. There's someone who manages their customer database better than I do. That may be you. There's someone who does a better job of building a website or a better contact form. Something better than me in just about every category. And yet, I've also found that very few people in the industry have the amount of freedom that I've been fortunate enough to carve out for myself over the last 25 years. I work 4 hours a day, an average of 6 months of the year. It's very flexible. My goal generally is to do one job full attention until complete. I do design and installation only. I generally select jobs based on whether a client wants to work with me in the problem-solving stage and give me a chance to really get to know that client, do the design, and then it's fun to provide a one-stop service where I'm the contact person from the first design through to the final walkthrough, and that way I know that client is getting everything that I told them they would without any surprises. So I do fixed cost bids on everything. I get 90% of my jobs done early. No big secret there other than telling clients that it will not be done yesterday. And so a big focus of mine is lifestyle and client happiness. And part of that, since I'm not a fit for every client, is of course knowing when to fire a client and when to send a client to someone else who might be better suited to help them with a given project. But after 25 years in the business and really loving the subject of business, quality of life, time management, and how to, this goal, and those of you who haven't checked out Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Work Week, it's a piece in that goal that, gave me a few eye-openers. The goal of being able to set up a company that makes maximum profit per hour of my time, that has as little unnecessary hassle. In other words, a big focus on company systems that just preclude all the many tedious hassles that can come with any complex relationship, that happens over months or years with a wide variety of different individuals. And it's such a big field. That's the other reason that I'm so big on collaboration as an industry. It's just such a big field. After 25 years, 20% or more of the work I do every year is brand new. I'm just learning about helical piers and considering a portable installer for for my company or for decks and things, because it's a new technology. Even these videos and using phones and how to create good videos. There's just so much to learn, and I think that's what makes the business refreshing and interesting. There's often a 20-year burnout period for small business owners of any kind that need a change, and so that was partly behind my idea of semi-retirement. How to create a six-figure income that would allow me to travel the world, still run my company, still grow and keep interested. It gets very boring on the beach for more than a month, without something to get in there with and think about. And so the presumption of these videos is that they're a starting point, and that for some of you they'll be brand new, and I'll be your teacher. For others, you know things that I don't know, but you can take bits of an idea and apply it in a different way. You can take a bit of a technique and enhance it. For others of you, you're going to be my teacher, and those of us on the channel, if you choose to share a video of your own. And I really want to encourage that. And so, the experience that I've had buying 500 Audible books, for example, in the last 5 years is, that's a $5,000 investment in, business and technical information and, psychology and all the various things that tie into landscaping. So much of it isn't horticulture and having a great business. It's being able to understand and support different clients in different ways. That $5,000 investment and the more than I guess it's 2,000 to 5,000 hours. Many of the Audible books are 10 hours long. Some of them are only a couple of hours long. But that time investment has already made me $250,000 and counting. And so I'm a big believer in education. My favorite form is to find someone else who knows something well that I don't, and then watch them do it, talk to them about it one-on-one. And so the landscape success courses that are sponsored, the public YouTube video series, contain more than 20 hours of my detailed, nuanced response. But there's a whole other series that I want to invite you to participate in. In other words, watch, take a course, learn what I'm doing. Notice the areas you're doing something better than me, better than most. Make a little video about it and share it with the industry. Because when I talk with couples that are deciding how big the budget should be for the project, they're never talking about another landscaper. The wife says, I'd really like to, make the driveway nicer, and could we do this? The husband says, well, what about the home theater system? It's going to be one or the other. We can't do, a $20,000 home theater system, go to Hawaii and do a landscape project this year. And I'm fortunate to live in a wealthy area in the United States, Marin County, California. And so, there is often $100,000 or so, budget for many of my clients of what they're going to do. But if they choose landscaping over a new car or something else, it's not because of one of you. It's not because of one of my competitors. It's because the industry as a whole has a good vibe around it. They've seen a few of their neighbors do something nice. They've seen something that I've done. That's the pivot point over a new car, etc. And so, it's very common because we generally just meet each other, at our supply vendors, and we don't really know each other that well. I don't think there have been hardly any landscapers in my 25-year career who have approached me around collaboration. I've approached a number of them because I've always learned something. But what I'm getting at is that we can compete to, get the business in a relatively narrow pie, or we can collaborate to grow the pie. We can collaborate to make the industry more excellent, more fun, more valuable in the eyes of our clients, such that people are much more predisposed to say, well, we've got 50K this year, let's put it into landscaping. So-and-so had a nice experience with that landscaper, so-and-so had a nice experience with this landscaper. And what really collapses the industry, is not competition with each other. It's doing a bad job with clients such that it kind of sours the thing. I don't want to get burned again. The last landscaper didn't finish and didn't do what they said and stuff. And so the goal of this channel is really to participate as colleagues, to grow the industry, to make our life more enjoyable. Because when we as a company owner are enjoying our life, we're so much easier to be, for our employees over when we're grouchy and irritable and losing money and that kind of thing. And we've all been there on certain jobs, and it's just very hard to project a great experience for the client or the employees, when we're, irritable and griping about something because we don't know how to run our business. And that's, the other big wake-up call is most of the difference between a successful company and a floundering company is not horticultural knowledge. That's fairly readily available. It's the way we put it together. It's the way we navigate the relationship with our clients. And so what I've done in the Landscape Success course and the Advanced course is taken 20 hours of my time to break down what's most useful for me. And in this series, I just want to share some of the, the tips and things publicly to start a dialogue. And what I really want to encourage you to do is notice where you're better than me. Notice where you're better than average. Notice some little tip. Could be very small. Could be very small. The way you do a tool chest. I did a whole series about all the tools I keep in my truck and why and how I organize them for what purposes. Because, that took me 20 years to figure out really well. And it wasn't until I designed my own compartments and built them, with plexiglass and epoxy and stuff so that I've got everything just the way I wanted it. That just makes the whole life easier. It means I don't get to a job site and not have some little thing and waste an hour in transportation. So have fun with these ideas. And please share anything that you can share that helps us as an industry to grow. And I'll see you on the channel.